Well, hello. Welcome to Biotopes. So in the Biotopes Gallery, we have 5 current Biotope aquariums set up. These are display aquariums set up to mimic a very specific river, lake, freshwater in the world. And then we've got some other tanks we use for some breeding, some growouts. Those are these 20 gallons behind me. I'm going to take you around today and show you guys what's currently going on here in the fish room. So thanks for joining me. Let's get started. So first we'll start with our Solomos River Biotope. This is the upper Amazon in Peru. Now with each of these biotopes, I've got a map displayed here on where exactly this particular aquarium takes place. In this one here, we're talking about really kind of this upper stretch in the Amazon in northeastern Peru. And these aquariums are all 75-gallon tanks. I've currently got 6 adult angelfish in here. There's 13 Aeneas cories or bronze cories, and I've got 1 leftover black skirt tetra here. I'll be adding a new species of fish into this tank here soon. Just looking at deciding amongst 2 different species. So if you want to see what we add to this, be sure to subscribe here and stay up to date with what's going on. So in this tank we've got some Amazon sword plants here on the left, a bunch of wood, sticks and so forth on the right. There's a bunch of botanicals as you see. And I also have some Salvinia floating here on top. I've got some emerged plants and pothos and some other things here I'm working on. But this tank, this stack of 75-gallon tanks are run by this 20-gallon long sump. We've got 2 filter socks in there, and then 2 pumps, and it does a great job. So these are drilled for overflow, and you know, real easy to change the water in these tanks, but these tanks have been set up for a long time, and they're doing great. Right above it here, I've got another 75-gallon tank. This is based on the San Carlos River Basin in Costa Rica. And as you can see here, Costa Rica, Central American country. And we're talking about kind of this area here. Oops, sorry. In the kind of northeastern area of Costa Rica. And with my Biotope aquariums, you know, everybody gets kind of caught up. Well, what does that mean? For me, it's the fish, the plants, the general setup of the tank is set up to mimic what it would look like in this case, this Costa Rican river basin. So I've got some sand, some gravel, some rocks, some wood. No plants here in this biotope. These fish will dig them up pretty good. You can see we've got some digging going on, primarily because over in this corner here, we've got these rainbow cichlids that have spawned on this rock. I love the rainbow cichlid, probably one of my favorite fish. Probably the only fish that naturally give you that yellow coloring. And just a beautiful fish, really peaceful Central American cichlid. Doesn't get too big, 4 or 5 inches. They're in here with 1 Nicaraguan cichlid, this female here. And you can see we've got some convicts. There's a trio here. You can see in the back there's a male and female. There's the male there. I'm sure they're on eggs back here. As you can see, this female's chasing other fish around, so I'm sure there's eggs back there. And from time to time we'll get some fry that'll grow up in here, but obviously I don't want this tank overrun with convicts, so sometimes I gotta take them out of there. So, and yeah, so beautiful tank. Again, probably about 9 rainbow cichlids, 1 Nicaraguan cichlid, the female, and then there are 3, 4, 5, 6 convicts here in various stages. Next to that here, I've got this tank. This is a biotope off the South Johnstone River in northeastern Australia. You can see the area there. And again, this is South Johnstone River. So here I've got currently, I think there's 9 Melitania splendida rainbow fish. That's the rainbows there with the red back ends. I've got some pseudomugil signifers. There's the male there. I do want to get more of these signifers going. So I may pull some of the male and some females out and just get them to do some spawning. But I'd like to get a big bunch of those. Then also in this tank, I've got 3 of these empire gudgeons. There's one here. You can kind of see he's looking right at us. I'm going to kind of move. There's that one there. Really cool fish. Get some pretty neat coloring. The males get a real red on the tip of the head when they're in breeding. I think the other ones are over here. Here's another one here. So you guys can see right there in the middle of the screen. And then I've got some large Balsinaria in here. These are the large species. It's either Gigantica or Americana. I do have, I think was 3. I think there's one Apanageton in here that's currently up a little bit. You can see right there. They don't do super great in this tank. This one will throw some leaves every once in a while, but it never does get very big. I've tried root tabs, not sure. Got any tips on how I get that Apanageton to go? Like I said, I've got 2 others in here that just, they kind of died off. I know Apanagetons go through that phase, but it's been a while. It's been kind of dormant, so love to get those going a little bit better, but that's what we've got for now. As you can see, I've got a lot of leaf litter in these tanks and detritus, and we keep them really natural. And the fish are super healthy. The water is clean. I've got some pothos roots you can see kind of all the way down, reach the substrate in the 75 gallon. So that pothos is doing really well. As you can see it growing above here and trailing all over. Above that here I've got another 75 gallon tank. This is based on the Zhenzhen River in southern China. So there's China there. It's that red area below. It's part of the Pearl River Basin. And in this tank I've got, there are 4 paradise gouramis. You can see them there. They have bred in here. I've got a bunch of grouts in those. You'll see later. There's the main male and female there. Really cool fish. You can see the female kind of displaying from the male there. The other 2 in here are from that original pair that's just grown up in this tank. I've got 4 white cloud mountain minnows. You can see there. I have had a bunch more, but they've been picked off by the kind of, you can see kind of his tail sticking right here. This is a tire track eel. And if you haven't kept a tire track eel before, or a zigzag eel, they are some legit predators. So that eel has taken all these white clouds as buddies. So, yeah, this eel, he'll eat live food, obviously, and the gouramis are too big for it, but he'll pick off a white cloud every now and then. And I've got him on frozen food as well. But, yeah, it's been hard to keep these white clouds going because of that eel. So I don't know what we're going to do, if we're just going to keep kind of going and Luckily, white clouds are pretty inexpensive, so I can replenish this colony pretty often, but just unfortunate that eel does do a decent job of keeping those guys limited. Again, this one's a lot of Vallisneria here. There's a jungle val. There is some hair grass that hasn't really taken off. That one's pulled up right there. There's another one back there that's trying to take off. I'd love to get more hair grass in here, but just has not taken off for me. But lots of Vallisneria, some wood, rock again, leaf litter, as you can see. But this tank's doing great. The last biotope we've got set up in the most recent setup is this tank here. This is based off of the Godavari River in central India. And you can see, that's India there. And we're talking about this central river basin. Runs really from the Western Ghats all the way to the Bay of Bengal. And currently here I've got, there's probably about 30 of these Indian glassfish. Now these are the fish that you'll see sold as painted glassfish, but obviously these are not painted. These are the original natural form of this fish. The males get this kind of, I'm going to see if I can find you one here. Come on, turn to me, buddy. Get this real dark point on the dorsal fin, and they get some blue on the back edging of the fins. So those are the males. There's one kind of hanging out there, if you guys can see that. The females have less color. Here's a big female here. And then as you can see, I've got some giant danios. There's 8 giant danios in here right now. The big rock, this real nice central kind of stump here that had a silicone to the glass. And then the 2 plant species in here are Bacopa moneri. You can see kind of poking out around here. I'll take you around the side. Sorry about the glare there, but you can see there's some Bacopa there. It's done okay. I'd like to get going a lot more on that. And then I've got this Apanageton natans. That's this Apanageton plant in here that sends these leaves way up to the surface. This one's got a couple flowers going there. This one here you can kind of see around the corner. Also is setting up some leaves and some flowers. So the Apanageton's doing really well on this, the natans species. And yeah, again, 2 species of fish in here right now. I will add 1 more species of fish to this tank. Not sure what that's going to be yet. They've been hard to source. But this tank is really starting to kind of come into its own and get balanced out in terms of the just nutrient levels, and you get some hair algae, which looks actually really natural on this piece of wood here. You kind of see some of the hair algae. These glass fish have not got them on flake food yet. They eat baby brine and do pretty decent with some frozen brine shrimp. Obviously the giant danios are monsters and they're pretty aggressive eaters. So I'm hoping with those guys, and they're not been in there for maybe a couple weeks, hopefully the glass fish kind of catch on, seeing those danios eat the flake food, and hopefully someday soon we can get the glass fish on some of this flake food and make things a little bit easier. There's a male right there, good looking male. So really cool fish, kind of tough to find in this natural form, but well worth it. This 75 gallons, bottom part of this stack is not set up yet, so that's in the works. This is all run off a sump here, a trickle filter. And next, this tank here is a grower out of my most recent spawn of rainbow cichlids. There's probably, I don't know, 50 or 60 in here, and they're about a month old. So about 4 weeks, and they're just growing out in this 10-gallon right now. If you are local to me here in Northern Ohio, let me know. I'd be happy to share some of these rainbow cichlids with you. homegrown, super healthy, obviously, and grown up really well. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'll kind of show you guys a little bit. I'm going to do a water change on this tank. I'll show you how I do that. This 10 gallon is not plumbed. It just has a hang on the back. The rest of my tanks are plumbed to my water change system, but I'll show you a little bit how I do this. You guys can check that out. All right, what I do most of my tanks is I'll test the water once in a while. I'm testing the nitrite here in this tank now. I assume it's going to be 0. It should be, but I always just like to test it every once in a while just to be sure. I also will use a temperature gun here and just test the temp. You can see that it's 76, so not too bad. It's just on the floor there. I do have some like foam to guard it against the cold cement. But again, there's a heater in there, and just to keep it at temp. The room is somewhat heated and insulated. It's at 75 degrees right now. The only thing I have in here to heat it, it's not on right now just for the noise, but I've got a dehumidifier. So that keeps the humidity pretty low and the temp right about 75, which is great. So none of these Biotopes, by the way, none of the 75-gallon tanks have a heater just running on a couple of pumps. Those pumps are, close to 50 watts, so it's kind of like having a 50-watt heater, 2 50-watt heaters for these. So they run in the upper 70s without a heater, even though the room is only 75 degrees. So that's 76, looking good. We'll come back to our water test here in a second. All right, as expected, the nitrite came back at 0. So again, it's what I thought, but it's good to know and good to test those once in a while. Okay, so while I was waiting for that, I went and got our rainwater. So I've got some videos out on how I set up my rainwater collection system. I'll tag those here above. So in this 10-gallon here, we're going to add just about 5 gallons of this rainwater or so. So the first step is we're going to get rid of some of the water here, and I'll show you guys how to set that up. So I'm going to use this little pump I use for all of my, anytime I'm looking to add some rainwater, I use this pump. It's just a little, real small, NUA pump. I think it's the smallest they make. So, get the top off of this. And I'm going to put the one end here into my drainage line that runs out into the yard. Put that there. Put the pump in the water. And then we'll plug this sucker in. Alright, so let's start the pump. So where I've got...
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Wow, thanks Alexa. So this hose here is running, you can kind of see out in that Y, kind of on the left. The one on the right is leading from the tank above. You can kind of see it, maybe, you can't really see it through there, but anyway, runs through that pipe there runs out of the fish room, which is right there. And it just heads right out, right through the cinder block, out into the yard. So that's where that is. So yeah, that is an easy way to get rid of the water, get it out of the fish room without a drain here in the room. So lower this about 50%, and then we'll add our rainwater. All right, that's about good. So I'm gonna just unplug this. My strip there, and I'll take this end out of the drain. All right, we'll add that into the tank. Take the pump out. Just make sure you don't get water everywhere. I put one of my buckets up here on this stool just to get a little bit of elevation. Just makes it go a little bit faster. And we'll make sure that pump stays in there. Don't want that leaking out. And we'll get this thing plugged back in. Right over here. And then we'll just, that's pumping out. This is just pure rainwater. It's a little bit cold because it's, I don't know, 45 degrees outside right now. And we're just going to fill that up. And those rainbow cichlids will get nice, fresh rainwater. So this rainwater here is, what is it, 48.5. So pretty cold, right? And that was about 50% into this tank, which was, we saw 76 degrees. And we'll measure this here and we'll see what this is at. This is down to 68. And you think, oh my gosh, it's gone down 8 degrees. And trust me, the fish will be fine. Alright, so that is about all that's in that bucket. I'm going to unplug it and then I'll pour the rest of that rainwater into that tank. Okay, we filled up our tank. I also, in all my tanks, I put a little bit of aquarium salt. So in this 10 gallon, I'm just going to put 1 tablespoon. So it's just a light dosage. And I'll just dump it right in, kind of in the flow of the water. Sorry for the light there. We'll get that hood on here in a second. So I'll do 1 tablespoon per 10 gallons of aquarium salt. And I'm also going to throw in some ferts because I'm trying to get a little bit of the, got some jungle val and Java fern in there. So we'll get 1 squirt of that. And we'll get the top on here. You can take a better look at it. Okay. Let's get it wiped down a little bit here. Again, not a display tank, doesn't need to look beautiful, but that's it. The fish are just fine. They're hiding right now a little bit, but everything is going to settle there and be great. You can see the heaters going. And in small amounts, the temperature of the water, the fish will adapt. You know, it gets cold in these areas from time to time. It rains. These fish will be just fine. I'll have no loss of life, no deaths. Let us move around a little bit slow here for a few minutes until that water creeps back up and they'll be good as new. So no worries whatsoever. Very natural. Alright, so that's my rainbow cichlids grown out beautifully. Thanks for coming along with me for that water change. Alright, on to my stack of 20 highs. This stack here was the first rack. I built all these racks to go into the fish room. We'll start at the top here. These are our grow outs of some of those paradise gouramis. There's probably 20 in this 20 gallon here. So if you're interested in your local, let me know. Cool little fish. I've got my grow out of angelfish. There's 6 in here. It looks like to be 4 of the silvers and 2 marbles. And they're really good looking fish. Beautiful fins, grown up nice. They're about nickel size right now in the body. So those guys are getting more and more personal every day. Next tank here is my colony of mutt endlers. I do have this male here that I'm kind of haphazardly trying to breed for its coloration. It's got a long white dorsal fin and kind of that forked, white edged back fin there. So I'm not trying too hard, but I am keeping that male going. There's one other male in here that's pretty cool as well, but you know, not too worried about it. I think that's right. Is that the guy right there? Anyway, so it's just a bunch of females. There is one bristlenose in here, male. He's around the edge there. I think I saw him. Yep, there he is there. Good looking male, a little aggressive for a male. But what I do with these, honestly, like, I'll feed them to my cichlids, the angelfish, the Central American cichlids will eat these. So, you know, that's fine. Just take some of the babies out every once in a while. If you want some endlers, let me know. I've got a ton. But, you know, really not sure what else to do with them. Nobody really wants them too much because they're just mutt coloration. Next are the newest fish in the fish room, and they are very small, so I'm going to try to get you up close here to see them. These are a bunch of baby giant danios, and the parents are in the Indian tank, Biotope as you saw. These are just over a week old, and there's a bunch of them. I don't know if you guys can see them all that well in here, but there's some air bubbles, but you can see some of the babies swimming around. So again, about 8 or 9 days old. Soon enough, we'll have a ton of these in the fish room. So again, if you're local and you want some giant danios, reach out, let me know. We'll get you some. So the coolest way and easiest way to get free fish are get your adult fish from the fish store, put them in quarantine. I use 20-gallon tanks, leave them in there for 10 days, medicate them, make sure they're healthy, take them out, take the adults out, wait a couple days, and you've got babies. So easy way, free fish, super hack of the day. Top tip. Down here at the bottom, I've got my breeding pair of angels. This is a German blue blusher, the male, the white one at the top, and then a silver female. They have laid eggs lots of times. Haven't gotten them to wigglers yet, but I would love to get a viable spawn on these because I think that German blue would be really cool mixed with that silver. The plant there in that pot is a Madagascar lace plant. I'd love to get it real big, but it's being a little dormant right now. And then finally, the last tank here is a bunch more routes of the paradise gouramis. There's probably 12 in here. Again, let me know if you'd like some of these. We'll get some to you here if you're local. And just a bunch of Java moss spawning mops here on the substrate. But just holding these here for now. Usually taking my local fish store for credit, or any friends in the area, we'll get them out to you. So that's the fish room. All right, everybody, so that's it for today. Quick tour on the fish room. Lots been going on. We got new fish coming in, new babies growing out. Again, if you see any of these babies that you like and you're local, reach out to me, let me know, leave a comment down below, and we'll hook up and we'll get you some fish. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. We are really pushing for 1,000 subscribers. I would love to have your subscription. Please do help us get to that next level. It would really help me out and get me motivated to do a lot more videos. Please like this. Share this out with your friends. Leave us a comment. Love to talk to you about what's going on here. Thanks again so much, and we'll see you next time.